you get that?
Are you booking me to making this purchase on company time? You're gonna hold my job at home.
Federal government, the grand jury, can demand the secrecy and can refuse to divulge. In other words, any information they get.
I just love to come down to the Detroit Riverfront Festivals. The food is scrumptious and the entertainment is fantastic. Of course, the scenery is something special, too. Hey, there's Joey.
The Detroit Riverfront Festivals are really happening, baby. They make weekends in Detroit sizzle. Give me a bucket of oats and a Philly anytime.
Well, there's no accounting for taste.
Don't let summer pass you by. Experience the excitement of the Riverfront Festivals in Detroit's Hart Plaza. After all, summer doesn't last forever.
Feel strongly about it.
That's wrong.
Well, I feel strongly about it that I told Palin yesterday that if it got too hot, he could indicate to the judge that he's acted under my instructions.
So you're suggesting he'd go to jail?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just telling you what I said. You can deduce or induce what the hell you want to.
Do you think that's a real possibility that today?
I don't know what the possibility. Who can tell what these damn judges are going to do? All these newspapers.
Very young, on another subject, I want to change the subject. On the very same day, I'd like some thoughts on two opposite ends in the police. We're bearing actually two fine officers today. It's a very sad day for the city.
Yes.
Ironically and very unfortunately, at the same time, two other officers are accused of robbing some people on the city's west side. I mean, I guess that's just such a big array of thoughts, of feelings from the department. Can you?
Well, here again, and I'm sure you know this, then under our system of government, and that's what I mean by trying cases in the newspapers, a person is considered innocent until found guilty. And what do you want me to do? Defend these people just on the basis of their being accused? I don't know whether they did it or not. The last time this happened, there were two Detroit police officers, or maybe it was four, who were involved. We arrested them, had them down for show-ups, and the witnesses who issued the initial complaints could not identify them. As a matter of fact, they identified another police officer who happened to be walking down the hall. So we had to let these police officers go. So I think that it's really presumptuous to create headlines and lead radio and television stories out of arrest when there hasn't been any conviction. We don't know whether we have the basis of issuing a warrant yet or not. I can assure you, if it turns out that these officers have done anything wrong, they will be vigorously prosecuted, or at least we will make the recommendations. It's up to the prosecuting attorney, county prosecutor, to issue the warrant.
I guess on a personal note, what I'm asking you, several officers did say yesterday, they said, you know, How could this, on this kind of time, when we are so sad about this, if this is in case, how, I mean, personally, I guess that has to either anger or make you question or...
Well, whatever I feel personally, I can tell you that I consider these two officers, whose names I don't know, innocent until proved to be guilty. I think it's a serious mistake to be indicting them and making lead stories out of suspicions, and that's all we have at this juncture.
Some thoughts, too, on the other end of it, the funerals today and the loss of that.
Well, obviously, you have two men who made the supreme sacrifice in doing their duty and in seeking to protect the people of this city. And they are hardly in their graves before questions about whether or not they had to die, whether or not correct procedures were followed, etc. And here again, it's in full ignorance of the fact. And I can't, all I can do is do what I do, rail, when I talk to you. But at some point, the press is going to have to assume responsibility for itself. And I've said this before, I think that the freedom of the press has become a license to libel, to, what penalty is it if the information you print is a lie? None whatsoever. In some cases, there's not even a printed apology or retraction. And I think that you ought to consider that in all fairness. Because if you don't, I'm afraid that that pendulum, which has swung so far in behalf of freedom of the press, and it's been swinging that way since Watergate, might start to swing the other way. You know, you talk about the First Amendment. I'm a supporter of the First Amendment, but I thought the First Amendment was primarily a guarantee to individuals of freedom of speech. But the way you tell it is freedom of the press. You're very freedom of the press to screw over individuals.
You meaning all of us, right? Of course, not me.
I use you in a generic sense.
One more thought on this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more question on this. Were you aware that the new system, the 9/11 system, that some of the tapes that were supposed to be made of the scene didn't...
Look, that didn't have a damn thing to do with the 9/11 system, and no, I was not aware. That's another connection. You happen to have a handy picture of the new system. This was not a part of 9/11. It was a police hookup for a special radio communication. It was not a part of 9/11. You see, the lie is out there now. I saw your station last night, and you were picturing it was a good picture. And what you were saying is already this brand new system is screwed up, and now what you're asking me is why. Well, why'd you raise it?
It wasn't my story.
No, you asked a question. No, yeah, I understand.
Move on, get away from
Yeah.
How come you didn't attend those?
Yeah, well, I could hardly be in two places at one time. How come you didn't attend? I was here, meeting the mayor of Toyota, as my calendar dictated. Now, somebody had to meet him. The city council was supposed to meet him now, went to the funeral. Somebody has to take care of business, and that's what I'm doing. Why aren't you there?
I'm not the leader of the city.
Yeah, well, it's because I am the leader of the city, and the leader of the city of Toyota, which is a sister city of ours, he come all the way from Japan to meet with me, that I felt I had to keep that appointment.
What do you think?
I don't think it would have been proper to take him with me. I thought about it, to a funeral. It's bad enough to have the goddamn thing all over the headlines in Detroit. I don't want it in Toyota City also.
What do you think about the question I asked him about auto imports? Japanese officials have asked to lift those auto restrictions. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel that it ought to be a two-way street. That they ought to allow us a free access to their markets as they demand that we allow them. But I think that his answer was correct. It's a federal problem, and they have much less flexibility over there at a city level than we have here. At least we can talk. We can't do much about it, but we can raise hell over here. They don't even do that.
At least we can understand you when you're talking.
Yeah, that's true.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Palin yesterday, in speaking to the judge, expressed his displeasure with the news of not accepting any compromises on the release of the information. A, do you still hope to reach a compromise? And B, the judge at that point said, your outrage should not be at the news. I am the one issuing this sentence, and it is this court that you are holding in contempt by not turning over the documents. Do you feel that the city is defying the judge or just defying the news?
I think the city is defying the system, you know, which requires, if it requires, and I think the judge is misinterpreting the law, but that's his prerogative. He's the judge, I'm not. That would make the Detroit News, in effect, an evidence investigative agent of the grand jury. Certainly, if there's the secrecy aspect of the grand jury is blown to hell, if the Detroit News has all the information that the grand jury has. And I'm sure everyone in this room is aware of the secrecy provision and that is connected with the grand jury. Even with that, it's a star chamber proceedings at best.
As his last compromise, Mr. Palin offered that he released the documents to the judge. The judge turned them over to the news in exchange for an agreement that the news would not print that information until the state has had its appeal heard by the state Supreme Court, which conceivably could and probably would occur before the grand jury is through. Is that an offer that you still consider? Is there...
Well, I don't think too much of that myself. I don't think that it guarantees a damn thing, because it's very possible that the Supreme Court will act today or before the week is out, and then the news will be free to print all this information. And I ask you again, what is the purpose of a grand jury meeting in secret if all the information before it is open to not only disclosure by the news, but interpretation by the news? And that's what I meant by the news media substituting themselves as an arm of government. They want to conduct trials now.
Isn't it true, Mr. Mayor, that what a grand jury looks at goes beyond public documents normally?
Sure, it's true. All I'm saying is that whatever the grand jury looks at is supposed to be secret, and public documents are part of it.
So the city...
Well, the news goes beyond the documents too.
So
Yeah.
basically, no deals as far as you're concerned. The city has no plans to...
I can't tell you, and I'm not going to tell you here, what my position will be. My position will be in reaction to what the court does, both at a local level and at a Supreme Court level.
Mr. Mayor, with Devil's Night approaching, some council members and a number of citizens have said the city has fallen behind in tearing down abandoned houses in the last several months.
We've fallen behind the last year. There's no question about that. In last year's budget, not this year's budget, the council removed $10 million from the demolition budget. Are you aware of that?
I knew there was some of the...
Well, then that's your answer. It's part of your answer anyhow.
What are some other factors?
And the increasing cost of demolition is another factor, but it's minor compared to the removal of $10 million.
Is everything else going to be status quo for Devil's Night, the same program, the all-out effort that we've done the last, 3 years now that has brought it down?
Well, there will be some improvements over it, and there'll be a press conference in which you will receive that information.
Is there any plans to step up, or is there any possibility that the demolition program can be modified before next year's budget?
All it takes is money.
I understand that.
Well, I do not know what the situation is going to be in terms of the money. If some money materializes, then we'll have a decision to make on priorities. you very much.